Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor for nearly 20 years with Ebby Halliday Realtors. Join her every first and third Wednesday of the month as she meets with the top community influencers to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now, your host, Kimberly Woodard.
Welcome, viewers, to this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. I am so excited about my guest today. I know you probably have had that feeling of anxiety, and I have Gina Waterfield here to talk with me about anxiety and what we're all feeling. She is a certified Overcome Anxiety Clinic facilitator. She's also a hypnotist. Hopefully, you're not going to hypnotize me.
I'm working on hypnotizing myself right now. Self-hypnosis here.
So I did have this running joke when I was talking to Ashley about having you on. I was like, oh, and Ashley, we're going to have you hypnotized on the, on the podcast. But as you see, we don't have her here. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. I really appreciate being a guest, being asked to do this with you. And I'm very, very excited about this conversation.
Yes. Well, we are coming up with our 1 year mark of COVID. I don't even know crazy. I don't know. And we would have never thought last year at this time, we thought maybe a month, 60 days, we'd be done over and moving on. But now we come up to a year. And it's crazy. And I'm sure you are dealing with a lot of clientele that are just having that anxiety feelings of, the lack of connections, the lack of, being able to go out and, all the things that we are typically enjoy doing, concerts, events, big gatherings. We don't have that. So how are you, I guess, telling people and having them cope with this?
Well, thank you, first of all, for introducing this conversation to your show, because, it is so critical that we all learn how to manage our self-regulations, coping skills,
Right.
and also our co-regulation coping skills.
Yes.
And I don't just see it, not only do I see it with my clients, I also see it in every conversation. It comes up. Anxiety, stress, lack of sleep comes up in every conversation. It's everywhere. And it's just something that we're dealing with today. And you're right, we did not anticipate the duration, the length of this pandemic and all of the social issues that have come up because of it.
Right.
We didn't have any idea how long this was going to last, and truthfully we still don't. And so that is another
Anxiety
experience that causes anxiety, that awareness or idea that this can go on for a long time, and not being able to see an end in sight does cause problems for people.
Definitely. Everyone likes to have that. We're used to, humans, start date, end date. With this, it's been start date, kind of infinity, because we don't have that a strong, this is the clear end date on this. So, and when we do start opening up, I think I feel like people are going to be a little bit of skittish, and how are they going to act, with one another? Has our socialization skills, kind of gone through, because we've been so used to being in front of a camera. Zoom, it's been so popular, and now we're actually trying to engage with people. How's your clients, taking that kind of, I guess?
Well, I think that it runs the gamut from, some people staying so isolated by locking themselves in their house for the last year,
Right.
to some people saying, well, I'm going to do what I need to do and avoid meeting people and seeing people in person to I'm doing nothing but online communications as much as possible, to I'm just going to do whatever I feel comfortable with, and that means I'm going to go about my business as much by my norm as possible. But the thing is that most of us are goal centric, and
Right.
so it speaks to what you just
Yes.
said about having an end date, and knowing that, here's something else we have to realize is that the science is ever changing.
Yes, it is.
And we're hearing polarized information on either side of any agenda.
Right.
And not to mention, let's throw in the political
Yes.
issues that are notwithstanding. So
Right.
and the vehement ideology that people have adopted on one side or the other, it is challenging all kinds of relationships, family relationships, friendships, parenting, child-parent relationships, across the board. And we're looking at social issues like, well, now people have lost their jobs. People have, for whatever reason, schools have shut down. Meaning any level of school of
Right.
education has shut down in many places, and now people are forced to live together. Even grown adult children,
Right.
and maybe even their children, are moving in with the grandparents, or the grandparents are moving in with the children. I mean, it has changed everything
Yes, it has.
across the board. And so then you're talking about other layers of emotional issues. And, I hear from a lot of my clients in particular and my friends across the country that are largely saying, I don't know what to do sometimes. I'm talking with groups of people who are educators, for example, who
Yeah.
say, I feel so overwhelmed and I don't know how to cope with this anymore. And, feelings are just erupting over conversations. Some people refuse to talk about it,
Right.
and they're just keeping themselves completely away from political agendas, political conversations. But in my opinion, if we don't have these conversations at all,
Right.
then we're missing some of the important aspects of learning how to communicate better, right?
I agree. And you brought up that point. Um, I think because we're so isolated, I know you I'm in a high stress business, and I would, even if I had the most stressful day ever, knowing that I was going to be going to an event, I could at least turn off stuff for 2 hours, whatever, and relax a little. Now, we don't have things to go to. It's not like we're going to a nice event and you can socialize with a whole bunch of people, and feel like you can escape some of whatever's going on in your world, for that 2 hours. We just don't have that. Or you could go to a concert or a big sporting event and be able to escape. We don't have those escapes right now. And so I think that probably contributes hard on anxiety, is that you're faced with it constantly and you're isolated with it.
Right. And then, we're diving into, technology,
Yes.
which is another stress producing activity, right? So, I think that we're taking in a lot of information and not releasing
Right.
a lot of that too. And so, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was how can we, develop some coping skills that can
Yes.
help us in the moment,
Yes.
in the immediate, in the present.
Right.
And so one of those tools can look like getting in the present moment, mindfulness and meditation, and a yoga practice, or any other thing that you love doing that allows you to concentrate on something in a way that feels good,
Right.
both mentally, emotionally, physiologically.
Right.
So for some people, that can look like when I think about moving meditations, that can look like breath work. It can look like just contacting, your inner self, your inner person, to really settle down a little bit. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that looks like. I can't even meditate at all. Like I can't get quiet. I can't quiet all my thoughts. Well, then that's the reason you need to, for one thing. And then also, yes, we can, but we're so used to the noise.
Right.
We're desensitized
Yeah.
to the noise. And getting quiet, now we've gotten to a place where getting quiet actually kind of freaks us out a little
Yeah.
bit, right?
Oh,
It
yeah,
makes
I
us
agree.
feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so it's really important to just practice by sitting in silence for even just 60 seconds in the beginning. Yes, you're going to have thoughts. The idea behind getting into a meditative state isn't to get rid of all of your thoughts, because the brain is designed to think. The mind is designed to
Right.
think. We are human beings, and that's what we do, is think. We resolve problems even while we're sleeping,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
So,
I'm
you
not
know,
one that wakes up because my mind is racing in the middle of the night.
Yes. Well, that's another byproduct of what's going on too. People are not sleeping. They're not getting enough sleep, quality sleep, and they're not making it through the sleep cycles that we need to make
Yeah.
it through to get into a restorative and reparative process, right? So we're not able to release toxins, and we're not able to do to let our body systems um, heal and process information of all kinds. So you could look like going for a walk. Even a 20-minute walk is shown to reduce your stress levels and anxiety levels. And it puts you in touch with nature. We're so used to being inside
Right.
buildings, walking on pavement, wearing rubber soled shoes,
Yes.
anything that keeps us from grounding. And so getting into grounding practices is really helpful. So I remember a long time ago when I had very few coping skills, one of the things that I did do was run outside and go hug a tree, literally. So, I didn't know it at the time, but that was a way for me to organically, naturally ground myself, um, and make myself feel settled. That was a coping skill, a self-regulation skill. By the same token, I would spend a lot of times when I was raising 5 children,
Yes.
um, between I had them in 6 years, so it was a lot of childbearing going on, not very much alone time.
Right.
And so it became really critical for me to have some private moments to myself.
Right.
You can't go to the bathroom with children
No.
in the house, young children in the house without being disturbed. So that's just a reality,
Sure.
But we have to also instill some boundaries, create boundaries in our life, and, actually say to the people around us, this is my personal space. These are the topics that I'm willing to discuss with you in this manner, right? So that is both co-regulation and self-regulation. It's like you saying to yourself, I need this for me.
Right.
These are the things that I need right now and I desire, that are going to help me be a better functioning human being, so that I can both tolerate myself and others, right?
Yes. I love it. Well, do you recommend, if you do that, your meditation, your kind of a me time, is it better to do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening? Is it just, or whenever you just feel like you need
Yes,
it?
yes, and yes. It's
So,
anytime. It's
okay.
anytime you can. There is no perfect time. I
Okay.
mean, except every time is perfect, right?
Right. Right.
Perfection is found in taking the moment and the moments to do that, to lean into that practice and to get comfortable with it. And, I mean, for me, myself, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, that is my golden hour.
Right.
That is when, like a lot of us do, get
Yeah.
up that early,
Yes.
and really it's before the world wakes up.
Yes.
And there's this stillness to the earth, to the environment, to our populations, that really gives us extra an extra dose of peace and tranquility, right?
It does. I mean, I love that time when I get up in the morning. I'll make my coffee, I'll get my things done, and I feel like it's my time that I'm not having interference. Like, I'm not getting 5 other emails or texts at the same time then I'm stopping this and responding to this, or the phone's ringing. I can focus on what I need to be focused on for that, hour
Yeah.
before the natives wake up.
Yeah. Well,
In my house.
yeah,
In my crew.
I get it. It's a time when you can just reset
Yeah,
and without any distractions at all.
right.
And you know, we are so multi-focused too. That's
Yes.
another thing.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
multitaskers by nature today. Well, I'm going to say by nature today, by example. I
Yeah.
mean, we've adopted this
Right,
habit of multitasking and thinking that that's a wonderful attribute.
right.
When the fact is that, at least this is what I believe, what I think I've heard and read, that it is we're much more efficient at being singularly focused,
Oh, interesting.
and our mind is much more effective at when we're focusing on one task at a time, and we actually learn more from that, and we retain more information. And so,
Interesting.
every time I think about, the one thing,
Right.
that is a reminder to me to really hone down where it is I want to apply my focus and my attention. And, that is one of the benefits of that golden
Right.
hour too, where you can actually not be distracted and you can decide where you want your focus to be, even in that moment, in those
Yeah.
moments, and in for the rest of the day.
Right.
I mean, in that moment though is where that critical to me it's that critical twilight time where we're just coming, out of hopefully out of theta and
Yeah.
sleeping, and in a deep restful state. And now our mind is it's highly it's just a more aware. It's
Right.
highly attentive,
Yes.
right? And that because we talked a little bit about that, having that clarity
Yes.
from those times. So
Well, no, I love,
important.
and that makes sense with why multitasking is not so much the best way, because you had indicated being present. If you're not present in that one task, you know, then your mind's wandering. You're more attentive. You're going to retain more. You're going to, you know, maybe excel more on that.
Have you ever had a conversation where, you're actually doing something, you're on task,
Yes.
and maybe you're doing 2 or 3 things
Right.
at the same time? 'Cause
Yes.
moms,
Oh, yeah.
we're there all
Yeah.
the time. Um, and someone's talking to you,
Yes.
you're having a conversation, and you're responding,
Right.
but later you have no recollection of what they said
Yep. Yep.
or
Oh,
what
yeah.
you said,
Right.
which,
Can be, yes.
can be a problem.
Yeah, that can be a big problem.
Big problem.
So,
And, I mean, that just happened, I think it was yesterday. See, I can't remember. Yesterday, I had a conversation with my husband and I was doing something, making dinner, and we were talking, and he said something a few minutes later when I was not making dinner.
right.
And I said, well, I don't remember that question. I had asked him something and I didn't remember the response. And that caused a conversation
Right.
about, we need to be engaged in the conversation. This is mindfulness.
Right.
If we're, you can take that anywhere, this mindfulness practice too. And that's it's fun because
Yes.
you realize I'm not listening.
Right.
I'm listening to speak.
Yes.
I'm projecting the next thoughts I'm going to have, even, we're future forecasting. So we're not in the moment. And then, we just miss important parts of the conversation sometimes, or, I think I was talking about conversation, not eating.
Yeah.
My thoughts are racing. But I mean, this is a perfect example
Right.
of a daily practice and why we need it. We can all get excited about the things we're talking about.
Right.
Maybe we have anxiety in the mix. Maybe we're worried about this family member. We're worried about our own health
Right.
and what we're going to be able to accomplish every day. It's a weighty proposition to be a human being today in today's culture, right?
So I think our viewers today are going to take away from today is to be in the moment, make time for yourself. So whether it's just a minute here or, you can an hour, whatever your day, but make sure you take that moment for yourself and be present. Be present. That's so important. And, especially in life in general, be present in the moment when you're engaging with people or whatever you're doing. So those are your tips today, viewers. And so hopefully we've taught you some new life skills to cope in today's still continuously COVID world. And thank you so much, Gina. I appreciate. And if you want to reach out to Gina and talk to her, learn more about what she does, and I have all her information here. And thank you so much. Cheers to us.
Thank you, Kimberly, for
and being in the moment
today. Yes, cheers to that.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to contact Kimberly with your real estate needs, you can reach her at kimberlywoodard.ebby.com. We hope you enjoyed our guest this week, and remember, don't just love your home, love your community.